where does it rank amongst, you got Illmatic, It Was Written, Stillmatic, Godson, Untitled, freaking
Freezy always bites his tongue at the wrong time.
Streets Disciple, Life Is Good.
Nah, man, I ain't gonna bite my tongue out.
I've already jumped it into the area of Life Is Good and Godson. I've already jumped it into that area.
So it's about 5 or 6.
But where's that area though?
So I got Illmatic, I got It Was Written, okay. I go back and forth between Stillmatic and Life Is Good for that 3 and 4 sometimes, and then so it's between them two, and then there's Godson. And then now I've already put this somewhere with that Godson, and I guess in between, I don't know yet if it's the third. I don't know if it's in that third spot, but it's somewhere between 4th and 5th for me already.
Right.
Already.
And
I gotta have some,
with a bullet though.
Yeah, I've got to have some time to sit with it, but it's already somewhere in that 4th or 5th. So let's just say I put Stillmatic at 3rd. Let's just say that, right? So if I got Stillmatic at 3rd, and then Life Is Good is after Stillmatic, I'm like, okay, am I doing? Is it this or Godson? And then I'm looking at Godson, and then I'm looking at King's Disease and Life Is Good. So it's somewhere in there with me, somewhere in there. It's got to be a top 5. It's a top 5. Let's put it like that. It's a top 5.
So the reason why I'm saying top 5 or 6 with a bullet is because I can't separate my feeling of how great those albums were when I first heard them off the shelf, right? Mm-hmm. So if it was just in a vacuum, I could move King's Disease up, but I can't separate my feeling and like where I was in my life when those albums were released, right? Like right now, King's Disease gets a bullet because a bullet upwards because because I'm older. I'm older and was hoping that Nas will come out with a dope album, and he did. So he gets extra points for that, which he shouldn't, because dope music should be judged on its dopeness and not how it necessarily related to me. Savvy D, that's the reason why I was kind of, you know what I'm saying? Because before we got on, I was like, yo, this might be top 3. And then I had to back off of that. Like, you know what? This is not Illmatic. It's not It Was Written. You know what I'm saying?
I feel like since you were around for the releases.
Well, thank you for calling me old as hell, Savvy D. Thank you very much.
Question for you.
Thank you for calling me old as hell on the internet. I appreciate you.
You call yourself that every episode.
Yo, so again, I mean, and look, I'm seeing like was like, this ain't Godson level. I don't know, bro. I don't know. It might be Godson level. Look, Godson is super dope. It's a little slower paced.
Exactly.
It's a little slower paced, and he drops a lot of jewels in there, right? Most of those are full songs. I don't feel like the things that he dropped in Godson was dope, as far as like dropping some jewels and spitting some things. But some of the things he's dropped and said in this,
exactly.
And even though you didn't have, like with Godson, you had full songs like Revolutionary Warfare.
The beats on this album, blow the beats on that album out the water.
Yeah, definitely. You had Warriors with Alicia Keys. You have If Heaven Was a Mile Away. Right. He was dropping a lot of jewels in. I can't think of the name of the song right now, where he was flipping the pages. My Book of Rhymes, right? Mm-hmm. He dropped a lot, said a lot of things in there, dropped a lot of jewels in that joint. Of course, you got I Can, right?
Right.
I Can. Yeah.
But so he had full songs where he was dropping some stuff, like full songs. But here, like some of the things that he was dropping here, it just hits me a little bit different, you know what I mean? Because it's more poignant to me with some of the things that he was saying, a little more poignant.
So the environment in which it dropped is spot on, basically.
Yeah, and of course, you know, he's older now, so it's going to be more poignant, right? Because he's older, he's, you know, been around more, so he's going to be able to say things in a little bit more depth, say things that have a little bit more meaning, and you know, because he's older, so of course it's going to be that way. I don't know. That's a tough one right there. That's a tough one. Let me ask this. We talked about this a little bit. Right. We talked about this a little bit. Now, he said, do I remember the track list for Godson? This is blasphemy. I do remember the track list for Godson. I remember having some joints on Godson that I was like, man, this probably shouldn't have been on this album.
Right. That needed the full device. Right.
What's the one joint? Mastermind? That shouldn't have been on Godson.
Man, come on.
Why are we even comparing this to Godson?
Yeah, I guess because they're in the same range. Yeah, that shouldn't have been on Godson to me. Mastermind, you know, Mastermind, it was cool, but it was just cool.
Godson is dope, but this is a better album.
You know,
Godson has some classic songs on it.
You know, what about the joint with Khalees? That was just, you know, the joint with Khalees on there. You know, it was just.
I view Godson like Godson. I view Godson as being like the album that has a lot of classic Nas songs on it. But if those tracks complement each other, is up for debate. Some people feel like it's very cohesive and it creates a fantastic union as a whole album. Some people feel.
Yeah, I mean, it's an amazing album, no doubt about it. It's an amazing album, no doubt about it. A couple of joints, like I said, Zone Out, I could have did without Zone Out.
Trash.
Right, I could have did without that. Hey Nas, I could have did without Hey Nas.
Even though I like Bravehearts.
Right, Mastermind, I didn't think Mastermind really belonged on the album. I didn't understand where it fit into this album.
Warrior Song, I could do without too.
You know what I'm saying? Warrior Song, I liked Warrior Song. I thought, you know, I expected something different when Alicia Keys was on it. I liked it, but I expected something different.
Right. So how many of those songs that you could do without exist on this album?
I mean, already, you know, Warrior Song, I like Warrior Song, so I'm not going to count that for me personally. Mastermind, I didn't think really belonged on the album. It was cool. All right, cool track, but I didn't think it belonged on the album. When you just look at everything what this album is about, I didn't see that it belonged there. Hey Nas, I thought his flow was dope on Hey Nas. It's not a bad song. His flow was dope, but I didn't know if it, you know, did it really fit there. Zone Out, you could throw that one away. You could throw that one away.
You know what I realized about you, Sim? This how I know that Sim is overrated this album, right?
You know
yo, bro, I'm not. These scores These scores did not come from me. These scores that you see up there come from everybody, not just me.
You're too happy that I look at the list. I'm seeing a whole bunch of 9.1s, 9. I'm like, look at Sim's happy ass, and I knew that
because it's a dope album.
You know, I know you're only happy because at least you're objective on the shitty throwaway Nas songs that Nas puts out.
Dude, stop ruining my Christmas. Stop ruining my Christmas. I only get 1 day every 2 years or so for Nas. You gonna come on here?
No. Freezy, I've been discussing this album, right? This album is weird because I think that, and people don't take it as me dissing Hit Boy, right? Hit Boy, to me, if you played me Hit Boy's music, I would have never thought that the production would meet up with Nas, right? I think it's like, it's one of those, it's like a chicken and waffles type of thing where it's like,
right.
It's like, what the hell are you eating? And then you eat, it's like, oh, it was actually not bad. It's actually pretty good. So there's certain songs like Full Circle, I can't stop listening to Full Circle. King's Disease, that song. Even the Spicy song, I'm listening to the song, I'm like, it's weird because it's like a half piano beat and it just stops. It's like, dun, dun, dun. It's like, what the hell is this? All right, what's gonna happen after this? But then like the bass and the snares kind of like keep you in it. And then somebody said it, I think Mega BKNY said it great. Fabio's whack verse actually fit this song perfectly, which is like, what it's like all these pieces that don't make sense kind of like all go into this jambalaya and it tastes really good. right? And I think that a lot of songs on this album, Hit Boy's production is not a Nas type of production, but it fits. So I'm not hating. It worked. But you guys say Godson. You got, come on, son. Come on. Yo, y'all, but revolutionary warfare is all fair, love and war to the. Come on,
I get it. I know. I get it. I get it. But I just feel like as a complete project, as an overall project, I feel like I don't know yet. I don't know yet. I haven't been able. I've only had this for 4 days, so I gotta sit with it for a while. But I do feel like King's Disease is probably more cohesive than Godson.
But you know how
way
Nas
more
is.
Cohesive.
You know Nas is not going to. All right, so are we judging up the novelty that Nas can actually, after how many albums, come together? Probably outside of the Untitled one, where there's like a cohesive theme, right? He's talking about, you know, rich, building wealth, all this stuff, right? But you know Nas sometimes, some of his best stuff is where he has a bunch of songs on an album that don't really, it's like, what the hell?
I know, I get that. I get that, but I feel like as a cohesive project, King's Disease is a better cohesive, you know, when you talk about being cohesive, I feel like it's way more cohesive. I'm going back and forth between them two right now. And where I place them, I'm going back and forth. So once I figure that out,
we should have let you wait a month. We should have came back to you in a month because I still think Godson. This is why Godson. I put money on it. If Godson came out today with the beats, whatever, blah blah.
Oh God!
With the beats it has today.
Higher. Well, in terms of its impact, because remember, Godson came out too quickly after Stillmatic. Nas does this.
Yeah.
He puts out he'll put out an album, a good album. He won't let it rest, and he just put out another album too quickly. And it's like, yo, dude, like kind of like let it breathe.
Well, I mean, you know why they did that? Because he was, he had kind of dropped. He came back with Stillmatic, so they're like, yo, we gotta live off this hype. You know what I'm saying? Just put out another album.
With 2 different albums. Stillmatic was.
I know, 2 different albums.
You know what I mean?
That's why rappers can't play numbers games. That's why. You
know what I'm saying? I mean, like that's what they did with DMX in 1998, 1999, right? They're like, yo, I mean, I was just watching the thing, and they're like, yo, we need, we can, if we give you $1 million, can you get another album out? And they, but I don't know. I mean, I love Godson. Trust me, I love Godson. I really, really do.
I know Heaven's like your favorite song, Sim. That has to be like your top 10
I love Godson. It is. That's one of my favorite songs ever. Dance is one of my favorite songs ever. Book of Rhymes is one of my favorite songs.
Book of Rhymes,
Book of Rhymes is mad dope.
His own baby son. Like, yo,
right. I still feel like
I bought the physical copy of Godson. I'm not letting y'all do this.
I still feel like there's some, at least one straight up dud in Zone Out.
What was the dud on this album? What was the dud that you got? I forgot.
We didn't have there wasn't really a dud on this album.
Oh,
when we look at the rating, I'm gonna read it out to you. I don't know if you got a chance to hear it. I'm gonna read it out to you one more time. King's Disease, track number 1. King's Disease got an 8.7. Blue Benz got a 9.7. Car 85, 9.5. Ultra Black, 8.6. 27 Summers got a 9.3. Replace Me got an 8.4. To the Wars one, 8.6. All Bad, 9.3. The Definition, 8.7. Full Circle, 9.4. 10 Points, 9.4. The Cure, 9.1. Spicy, 9.1. These are all.
What these you gave 8.4? Sorry, what was the one you gave 8.4?
Replace Me. Replace Me got the lowest. Replace Me.
You don't like that one.
Man,
I gave it a 7.5.
Listen, I don't know how the hell that got the lowest score. Of all the songs on there, Replace Me got the lowest score.
And that's all. You know what, man?
That is hilarious.
You know what, though? iTunes says the 4 most popular songs on this album, and I go by iTunes because people not gonna spend money on shit they don't like. Period. Y'all know that. Right. So they got King Disease.
Only iPhone people though.
iPhone people spend money, and they not gonna spend money on stuff they don't like. I mean, so it's like King's Disease, Ultra Black, Replace Me, and Spicy are the 4 most popular songs on Nas's album based on people that make purchases of the album.
Give me the fifth most popular song because Ultra Black was a single, so I'm not gonna count that. Give me number 5.
Blue Benz.
Okay, all right. So let's take Ultra Black out. The top tracks are King's Disease, Replace Me, Blue Benz, and
Spicy.
Right. The top selling track. The top selling tracks.
Right. And if you want to know how popular stuff is, you follow the money. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean that's popular. I mean that's popular. That's how popular it is. It doesn't mean that if it's better than another song.
And also, there's a technical standpoint to analyze the music from as well, right? Not just being a fan, right?
Right.
I mean, listen, 8.4 is not a bad score. It's just that's what it was. But still, there's not a zone out on this record.
Exactly. There's no zone out on this record.
There's no zone out on this record.
And